welcome to Kapow Toys Presents. I'm your host, King Grimlock, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at Darker Than Moon Vortex, the Takara only, at time of recording, release, the repaint of Hunt for the Decepticons Tomahawk, and following in the Takara releases along with Air Raid, who was the repaint of the Breakaway mould. And the first thing that strikes you about this guy is that his colour scheme is, oh, you've guessed it, very G1. He is a G1 styled character, and therefore he's going to be treated as a G1 character. It's blatantly G1 Vortex. So they've gone with the grey, the green and the purple that was so obvious, you know, such a key feature of the original character. And you know what, they've done a sterling job of the colour scheme on this. For one of the few times, this grey doesn't feel like that horrible Games Workshop grey that I often go on about. It feels really sleek and tidy, and actually like it's been cast in that colour deliberately rather than just being left over and not painted over. And it works so well with this purple and this green as well. It is absolutely lovingly done. They've spent a lot of time bringing out the detail, using the colours to complement each other so well. The blacks, of course, are key on the tail fin and on the rotor blades. And from the front, you can see a couple of minor little things. The fact that you have a painted end guns on there, and that you have this little notch of red in the nose as well. The painted end guns don't really make much sense to me, other than the fact they are cast in the grey, but the colour doesn't appear anywhere else on the entire toy, so it's kind of weird that it's there. And the red on the front does great to break it up, but you do feel as well that maybe that should have been purple, going in with the purple cockpit, which has the lovely paint over the top of the clear plastic, so it comes out slightly purplish grey. It's only minor details that are the problem with this guy. I was quite a fan of the Tomahawk mould. If you go back and listen to or watch the review I did of him many months ago now, and I was a big fan of it, but it's just something about it didn't really grab me. This guy does. This guy is glorious. This is the colour scheme. I'm a G1er at heart, but only when they're nice and classicified. Beautiful Decepticon logos picked out on the side there. Must note they are done in Decepticon colours rather than in the typical movie colours of just the blacks and greys. Would have been nice if they picked out a bit more detail on the rear rotor, maybe done it in black with maybe that white on the blades, I don't know. Little things, it's little minor quibbles, and as we go around the figure, you just see how well it works. This grey is such a lovely colour on this figure. Normally I complain like anything about a plain grey toy with very little other bits picked out, but for some reason it works so well. And I think it's because there are so few paint apps, everything's cast in plastic, it feels solid, there isn't broken up colour scheme. You don't have various colours of green on there, you don't have various purples. They all seem real enough, they come together cleanly enough. He does of course come with weaponry, being a Darker Than Moon toy. He comes with a mech tech weapon. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mech. I like the idea of mech tech. I'm not a big fan of this weapon at all. It is the Roadbuster weapon recast with the gun on it. I'm not sure who had that. Thundercracker, maybe. Actually, I'm pretty sure it was Thundercracker. I don't know who had it. I don't don't overly care either. But the grey is cast in a different grey. The blue's cast in different to the green. It feels like it just belongs to another toy. It looks like it belongs to the Jolt mould or something like that with the colour scheme, and doesn't really fit with the mould at all. It doesn't fit with the colour scheme, sorry, and doesn't fit on the mould either. If we rotate Vortex up on his side, as you can see here, we have mech tech ports, or gun ports, in 3 places around him, but he doesn't fit convincingly anywhere because he only has the one gun. It does look a little silly. And if we just and on the nose you can put that down, but it doesn't quite hang right, and the whole thing just feels a bit of an addition, really. Really, like it definitely feels like it was an added on idea, that it wasn't given the full thought, that they've taken the mold and they've gone, yes, we know what people want, but they want a Vortex, they want a Generation 1 Vortex colour figure out of this mode. Personally, I still want a Spinister, but they've gone the whole hog with the actual toy, sorry, with the figure, but they've kind of gone second thought, oh, we've got to tag it in somehow with the gun. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it in this mode at all, and it looks even worse in the next mode, which is a real shame. Overall, the helicopter mode is almost good enough to display as it is. I am a massive fan of this colour scheme. It works beautifully well. The detailing all over it is superb. The paint apps, the very few paint apps, are wonderfully done, and it's just a very nice, solid looking toy. If you want me to go in more detail, I'd say go and check out that Tomahawk review. But let's take a look at Vortex in his robot mode. And Vortex's robot mode doesn't quite evoke the same feelings of joy and adulation from the colour scheme that the alt mode does, but it is still a stupendously tidy little robot with a great overall aesthetic. We get, first off, some more of those little red bits. We now know what it does. It picks out some detail, it breaks up that grey. I can't help but feel choice of another colour may have been useful, but they are trying to tie it in to the light piping, and he does have extremely good light piping around the back. The new head mould is very, very nice. The paint is kicked on a little thick. Guess where that paint came from? It came from his jaw. And I am looking forward to seeing what render form can do with the Vortex head that they are planning. Other beautiful detailing is, of course, I love this blade. And the things like the way the legs all work together, this beautiful black, broken up and highlighted the detail with sort of the purple crotch area, you know, and into the green feet, it works very well. It's just not as good, and I almost feel it's that red that's letting it down. I do feel that maybe it's just a choice of a better colour may have suited. Again, the MechTech weapon is somewhat lacking for a number of reasons, though, this time. Firstly, it obviously doesn't match, as you can see quite clearly in the colour scheme. Not too much of a problem, you say, but it doesn't really have the most solid grip on it, and it is known to go a little limp. He does suffer from the same problems as his mould mate. These shoulders a little bit on the loose side, and I have managed to split the glue on one of them when I was trying to pose him into a different mode. Again, you can do a number of things with him to differentiate him from Tomahawk, you know, obviously with the replacement of the rotor blades, the placement of the rear wings, and of course the different head does help as well. Overall, I am thoroughly impressed with Dark of the Moon Vortex. It's amazing how a paint scheme, a simple change of paint, can evoke a different reaction. Tomahawk was a very dull looking bot, just the blacks, the little bits of gold picked out as well. This guy going to a much lighter colour scheme just works so much nicer, but yet still evokes evil so much better as well. And I mean, is this guy a worthy addition to your collection? Do you need him? Well, if you've got the Fans Project Bruticus kit, the Crossfire upgrades, or you know, just even that one, you've got a Vortex in your collection combined in your Bruticus. So do you really need a deluxe one? Well, this guy goes beautifully next to the Universe 2.0 Onslaught, but he also, you know, stands perfectly well in your movie line as well. The head mould just perfectly borders those two, as well as the overall aesthetic. He's classic enough, i.e. he has hands and eyes and a mouth-esque, but he has got the movie detail there as well, with some lovely intricate sculpting, and a MechTech weapon, which, I'm sorry, is a complete fail. Overall, thoroughly impressed, and personally, I couldn't recommend him highly enough. This was the one movie toy, other than Skyhammer, that I was desperately after. It's the first time in a long time I've gone, you know what? I really need the toy. I don't know why, I need the toy. And I got the toy. So, I've been King Grimlock. This has been Dark of the Moon Vortex, and we will see you next time.